سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel. Hello, Akbar! So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
The PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.
Hello everyone and welcome to the PWC Monday Night Machismo. What is it? Tuesday edition. We're a day late. I'm your host Jimmy T and my co-host, he's back. He's the evil one. He's the foreign object. He is Dr. Jeff Lippman. Welcome back to the Machismo after a pretty explosive Raw. Sort of, anyway.
Explosive like the barbed wire death explosion.
Something like that.
I mean, like my tagline says, there were about 25 good minutes in Raw.
Well, you know what? You're probably right. A lot of people did like this Raw, though. I won't lie, from what I've read in comments. But, yeah, maybe we're just too cynical.
That they watched the YouTube highlight clips.
Well, I don't blame them. Well, Jeff, before we do get into Raw, but is there any news that we need to cover, man?
Yeah, there's some news. So we'll do a couple of quick bits first, and then there's something to talk about. First of all, Gunther is officially the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship, eclipsing the Honky Tonk Man.
In history.
So, yeah, in history.
Shit, time flies, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's been over 10 months.
Wow.
The Vince McMahon movie is back on cancellation again. I'm not sure which one. There was a Netflix one, and then there was one that was through A&E and WWE Films. I think it's the Netflix one. I didn't really view it as important enough to dive deeper into it. Your man, Will Ospreay, injured his shoulder during the New Japan World Cup, and so he's now being pulled from the multiverse card with Impact. He's being replaced by Tanahashi. Who's
That's
facing?
not bad.
Yeah, I don't know who he's facing. To be
It's a
honest.
second-rate New Japan fucking roster facing these friggin' Impact guys.
I understand that, but the thing is, it's Will Ospreay injured again. I mean, I don't know if it's serious or not, but the people always talking about him as being the best wrestler in the world, and he's
Jeff.
he's
before
been
we
injured
continue-
50% of his career.
Before we continue, we've got a mystery guest.
Yes,
Actually, right here. And do you know who that is?
I think so.
Oh, you did know. Damn it. La Sicaria. Welcome to the
Hello,
Machismo.
everybody.
How
Oh,
are you?
look at
Live
that.
from Ecuador.
Yeah,
Thank you.
hello,
How you
beautiful.
been?
Thank you for having me, inviting me.
No, thank you for appearing, actually.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you.
Yes, I
It's
am so
funny.
excited.
Yeah, you've got that Godzilla angle where you're bigger on the bottom and smaller on the top.
Oh, God.
Even to Sicario.
Was that Frank?
That was Frank.
Yeah.
How is
I
Ecuador, La
thought
Sicaria?
that now it's good after the quake. Now
Oh,
it's
yes.
like people try to reconstruction the day home because that I think we are doing well, but it was so terrible that day.
Yeah, that's not good. Did many people pass away from the earthquake, or?
Yes, there are some. Yes,
Oh, not good.
it
was telling
was
me
and
today in the city Guayaquil that like 26 people a day are killed because of cartel violence.
I was just watching a documentary about that yesterday, and apparently it's the Albanian mafia that's causing a lot of trouble in Ecuador.
The
Apparently.
Albanian.
yes,
Yeah, the Albanian mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
it's because the ex-government and the politics. This is working
Yeah.
like that.
So it's not Colombians or Mexicans, it's Albanians.
Well, they work with the Colombians. They're the middlemen between the Colombians and the
They're
rest
like
of
the
the world.
Cubans
So-
to the Russians, like in the 70s and 80s. They send the
But-
Cuban soldiers everywhere.
But a lot of them are living in Ecuador, and apparently a few of them have been getting shot. From what I saw yesterday, anyway. Funny enough, is that
And
true?
yes, and they
Is
are
that
training
true?
to the
Right.
kids to do like the shooting to the people, training to
Right.
the kids. It's
So
like
are there a
this.
lot of people like Jimmy with holes in their body that look like him that are dead in the streets?
Yes.
Oh, come on! I don't look that cartel, do I?
No, I mean, Albanian, Greek, same thing. You're all
I've got a lot of
Thracian.
Albanian friends. They all can speak Greek too. Most of them can anyway. I mean,
You're
there's a
all-
lot
you're
of them in
from
Greece.
Thrax, Ares' son.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Is it hot? Is it hot down there? Viv?
Just look at her. It's
Where I
hot.
am,
Woo!
Yeah, is it hot as in?
this is no,
He
here
can't-
is the best weather. Here,
Yeah.
where I am, it's in the south from Ecuador and with the borders in Peru.
Wait, is
You know, we
Ecuador
are,
is Ecuador in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere?
yes.
Ecuador's on
it's
the
in
equator.
north.
That's
It's
why it's
very
called
high.
Ecuador.
Right.
It's in the equator.
No,
Yes.
because it
Where-
was summer here, for example, up until recently. Was it summer there in Ecuador?
No, okay. It's like the summer, and when it's the summer, it's raining.
Oh, really?
Sorry. Yes. It's like different because we
Right,
are
it's
in the
different-
equator.
Right, it's different from
Uh-huh.
America,
The weather
but,
is
right?
crazy.
Yeah, see, it's similar here. Not where I live, but in northern Australia is on the equator as well, in Queensland, stuff like that,
Yeah,
where it's
don't
always
have
hot up there.
seasons. They just have different weather, but they don't really.
Sorry,
have
I
seasons.
cannot hear you because it's not a good signal here.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm
I can
outnumbered
understand
here
you.
by the global south.
I cannot
Yeah.
hear you. Sorry.
You can't hear us?
Do you have any
she's
wrestling news for us from South America?
All right,
Yes,
say it again because it was a signal. It was not good.
Do you have any wrestling news for us from South America?
Yes, there are. I remember Lanny Pafo when he was live.
I know.
He told
It's
me
crazy.
that wrestling people, they was invited him, and there are here.
Really?
So
Do
they
you,
invited him
Yes.
places. Did he invite you places too?
Yes, do you remember? You know, the last time he was invited to me for these events in Baltimore. Do you remember? And he told me coming, and I
Right.
want to see you face to face,
Did he invite me?
but no, because he wants. No, because he told me, okay, poor guy, he's passed away. He told me, uh, only me. He paid for everything, and he wants kissing
really?
me, gives me a big kiss. I remember,
Wow.
but I told him I cannot do it that, and I told him I cannot come in because my son, it,
Oh, because you're your
it's
son.
something.
No other reason.
No, 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 no.
Other
Jeff,
would have,
we can
other
come.
would have been
No,
smooching with the genius.
don't talk too much. Don't be creepy. But
Yeah,
let
don't
me
be
friend.
creepy.
He's
Yeah,
your friend.
let me friend.
Well,
No, it was like Frank, he don't want to go out. Do you remember? And he told me first a family. I understand you. Otherwise, I don't want to understand you.
are
You
you are
know?
you are you upset that he died of a broken heart?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was has a lot girlfriends here in this country.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But always he was asking me
How often did he call you and text you?
I was gonna ask that too. Funny enough.
always. But I never answer it.
You
The
answer
the
sometimes.
the and the weekend Saturday
Hmm.
Does he get
when he was
jealous?
sleeping.
Does he get jealous a lot, Viv?
Jeff?
Yeah.
Yes, he's jealous. And very insecure too.
Oh,
Very
really?
insecure.
I'm jealous. You're jealous of Lily.
Oh, all
I am
right,
jealous
please.
because I got that reason. I got evidence too.
Oh, evidence too. I like to know
Yeah.
that one actually. I want to know now. Oh, but really, Viv, like, is it still a shock to you that Lenny Poffer has passed away? But
I cannot believe that.
yeah, me too. I can't believe he's gone. Only because it came out of nowhere. I mean, 2 days before he was posting on
Yes.
Facebook, and then he was gone. Like 2 days later, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, he was at Wicked, the play
Yeah.
on Broadway.
Like, Jeff, he told me he was right, Jeff. He told me because here in this country is very high,
Yeah, the higher,
and
yeah,
you have to go to the other countries back here and go again. The heart is working, the heart
right,
working too fast. When I did coming, I had to take 1 week and a half for try to be like all down with my heart.
really.
And he was on his age, I think like old guy, not very much old, okay, because
I understand. Don't
uh,
worry.
yeah, very old, maybe from the 80 years old, but the
Right.
highest maybe killed him, and maybe too much like high life, like maybe he was has a lot of girlfriends too.
Or maybe a
Yeah,
broken
no.
heart.
Broken heart. Yeah, he told me he he is living in one dreams. He told me the last time. I am living in a dreams with you. I will
Really?
never meet you in face to face.
Why did he say that?
Mhm. But you know what I am with Jeff. You know what Jeff is my fiance. Guys,
I
they
know.
doesn't care. I try to don't answer them. Sometimes they are
That's
tell
good.
too much, but
He jobbed out to
I
me
don't
in,
know.
in a South American death match.
No, but look, he was a good guy. I mean, I didn't know him personally like you guys knew him compared to
I
me.
know
But
personally.
well, I did watch that video, but with Viv and Lanny, and when I saw it, Jeff never told me that he liked you or anything like that. I could tell by watching it, and then I said to Jeff, "I go, is it just me, or does Lenny have a thing for Viv?" And he's like, "No. It looks like he's got a thing for Viv." it shows. It really shows in that video.
Yeah, but I was so shy. I made this video only because Jeff has all the fouls. You know, the most funny about everything, it was like when Jeff, he was send the text messages to Lani, and Lani
Yeah.
never respond to Jeff. And Jeff say, send text messages to Lani. Lani is in your country. Maybe you can make a video and ask how it's going over there. And then I was sent the text messages, and then 3 minutes after he responded me. And then 10 minutes after, he called me, and we was talking by 1 hour.
Wow. Wow, that's funny. That
Yes.
happened with me and my girl too, with a celebrity, where I never got a response, and then she gets a response, and I'm like, really?
Who was it, Crocodile Dundee?
No, it was actually a rapper. Funny enough, Shade Shiest.
Johnny
you
the
probably don't know
Jobber?
who he is. No, wow. I wonder where is Johnny the Jobber. Actually, I spoke to Kev before. Speaking of Johnny, he just messaged me back, but I haven't checked it out yet since we're doing the show. But yeah, but Viv, is where you are in Ecuador, is it dangerous?
Okay, maybe yes, because just when I am here in these towns, first is the most old towns from my country and the most important towns, because here are the mining companies, and then
Oh,
because that there are a lot of people. My friend, he's from Australia. That my friend has a big company. He's from Australia.
oh,
This
really?
guy.
Is he Ecuadorian?
No, he's from Australia. He's
Okay,
here.
all right.
Yes. Yeah.
All right,
Dumbass,
because
you
And
live
then
there?
is the company,
you
the
say?
Australian company, is the Australian company
Yes,
there
mining
in
company, yes.
Ecuador?
It's too big.
Must be
Yes.
Rio Tinto or I can't remember the other one. Rio Tinto, and there's one more. They're two of the biggest in the world for mining.
What is the name?
One is Rio Tinto, like Rio Tinto, and the
Yeah.
other one, I can't remember the other one. I'll tell you in a minute, but please continue with what you were saying while I find out.
Yes, but it's dangerous because there are people, they are working under the ground like illegal, and they
Right.
can kill you if they will see you under the ground, and they are under the city. There are problems because there are problems in the earth is coming fall down,
Oh, wow.
and then people kill each other. If they are give to you money for you can start the business, you don't back to them the money in 2 months. They go and kill your family. It's very dangerous,
Wow.
And then a lot business that are here. You cannot see a lot people. It's like on the weekends, but they are washing the money. I think it because
Oh, for sure.
how in one town there are no people in a lot business,
100%. I
you know?
agree with you. Oh, and the other
Right.
company was BHP, Billiton.
Bulletin, it's a mining company.
Yes, BHP and Rio Tinto.
No, here is the name is Alpe.
Okay,
Billiton.
all right.
Viv, how many people have you killed since you've been down there?
Okay, it depends.
Well,
My
she's-
mother, she told me, don't tell about the sicaria because if people they are going look. Listen, you are the sicaria, you will get in trouble.
Okay. You lost count. I understand.
Yes.
Lost count.
They were mostly Australians, though, right?
The most Australian?
Yeah.
I don't know, but there are people from Australia too. Maybe in this cemetery there are here and where a lot of people from another countries pass away. Maybe there are a lot of Australians too.
Yeah, because of the mining. There's a lot of Ecuadorians here too in Australia too. There's quite a few here that actually have lived down here as well.
Yeah,
There's
I was
Ecuadorians, I
listening
guess,
in
everywhere.
I was listening in the TV in one program. They say the Australian dreams. It's no more the American dreams.
Same thing, exactly the same thing. That's why my family they came from Greece, and the Australian dream. Except the only thing I don't like about this country, it's too far from everything. Beautiful
Yes.
country, but just too far from everything, and I don't like that. It takes forever just to
And
get.
this is the reason we cannot go and visit to you because you are so far.
I know, and I don't like that. Because really, I've got family in America too. Like half my family went to America, the other half came here to Australia. But my family from America, they've come here. We haven't gone there yet. So, and I want to come to where you guys are. But I mean,
Where in
there's a lot of
America are
Greeks in
they?
Baltimore. Sorry,
Where are they?
sorry, Jeff. In Ohio, in Cleveland, believe it or not, and New York.
New York.
So, yeah.
Cleveland. Ugh.
Yeah, Cleveland. Would you believe that? Cleveland. I don't
But
know
you can
why.
go
Baltimore,
and
the Midwest. Ugh.
Yeah. Sorry, Viv.
you can go and visit your family, and we can meet.
Yeah,
in
for
United
sure.
States.
I do want to come. That 100%. I do want to come over there eventually, and I do want to see my family members because they've come here, and I haven't gone there. But definitely one day. It's just money. It's expensive right now.
Well, once we start PWC Patreon and we start rolling in the money, we can have a PWC meetup in Hawaii. We can meet in the middle.
Hey, that's halfway for both of us, right?
That's
so why
exactly
not?
right. I mean, no other reason to go to Hawaii except that it's midway.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
money to traveling. Ask Jeff.
Yeah, I know.
Ask Jeff. I don't even go around the corner. What are you talking about?
Well, he can't wait for you to come back, Viv. He's going crazy. Otherwise, he'd be sleeping now.
Damn right. No reason to sleep.
When are you coming
Okay,
back, actually,
okay.
Viv?
After my dentist appointment or medical appointment, you know.
All right. Well, he's waiting for you. So, and he's gone crazy without you. He's gone loco.
Did
Cocoa
really, Jeff?
Puffs.
Really?
Yeah, he has.
Really?
He's
You
gone
don't say
crazy.
anything.
What do you want me to say?
It was
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What do you want me
Didn't
to
say
say?
you
What do
are
you want me to
going
say?
crazy.
Huh?
And now he don't say anything in front of me, you know. Because,
he talks
because
about you
I
all
am
the
the
time.
boss of honest. No, I don't think so.
Believe me when I tell you, he talks about you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Most on the show.
He does. He really does.
I mean,
He
in
made me
fairness,
even put your
that's
photo.
really the only time I speak is either for work or on a podcast. So
He really misses you, but I'll tell you that much.
I did talk to the plants today when I fed them.
The plant?
I watered
You
them.
fed-
Yes, I have my garden and at home. You know, they need to take care from Jeff. It's good. It's good because Jeff, he can learn how it's going with the plants, you know, to take care of the
Yeah.
plants. It's good.
See,
It's for
at
May
least he does.
visit to Jeff.
We're growing nightshade.
How's Frank, by the way?
Good. He's like doing everything like enjoy the life. Good.
Is
Thank
he
you
happy to
for
be
asking.
back home?
Yes, it's because it's different. In
Of
the
course.
beginning, I was like upset because when people change the countries, like my teacher called like the country culture, crash
course, yeah.
culture or,
No, you're right.
culture crash. Yeah, it's like different everything, the culture, the location, the food, the people, because you know people in United States they are living their own life, they are not social, they are living only in their home, and
That's the
they
same
are
as
going
here.
out only because they have
Right.
the dog, you know.
It's all about work, and not
it's
social.
all,
Right.
you know,
Right.
no, but in Southern America, it's like in Spain. Like everybody go out, go to the open
Siestas.
place, start with everybody. You know, you are going to United
And they
States, you are
shoot
saying,
them.
good morning, nobody answer you. Everybody here say, good morning, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Coming, and we can make plans on that day, not 1 month before.
Yeah, because everybody's too busy to go out of their way, you know, in places like America and here, same thing. Everyone here is all just work, less social, you know, and that's the problem.
Right. No, it depends. I think it depends because of culture, because how they was received education. It's like everybody they take that their own life. Here, all people were so sweet. It's the reason the guys love the Latinas.
Of
Because the
course.
Latinas, I know we had a strong character. Sometimes we are thinking we can do everything we want, but we are sweet.
Of course, no,
Okay.
absolutely,
And one
absolutely.
then the sweet, another the knife.
Yes, you never make a
It's a
Latina
trap.
angry. No, but
Right.
that's why I like Latin. Like, it's very similar culture to Greek culture too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I like Latinos. Not as much as they.
Why'd you say that for? You're a character, man. No, but I find that interesting though, because Ecuador would be a nice place for sure. But apparently it's getting very dangerous now. That's all I know. It never used to be this
All
bad, was it?
Ecuador.
Right. Colombia's next door, isn't it?
All next on the north. And
Ah,
because it's in the Venezuela and Colombia, it's in the north. No, in Venezuela, they live the day
with
country.
Chavez.
And the borders, and yes, because
Well, he's dead now, but yeah.
Maduro,
Right.
yeah. And then all the Venezuelans are in the Colombia board and Ecuador board. It's
And the
crazy.
Peruvians
And they
too,
doesn't have jobs. Yes, yes,
because
and they doesn't have jobs. Mhm.
right. And that's the problem, because a lot of the people in Ecuador, especially too, the poor people that don't have work and don't have jobs, they're forced to work with the cartels and, to make money. And that's not their fault. That's more the government fault for not creating more jobs.
Yeah, everything working with the cartels here.
I
Okay,
don't blame them.
because they had to open the enter for them, and the police they had to be agreed
Right.
with them, and they receive money for them, and then it's working like that.
Wow.
This is
Oh,
the president has to be here, put away everybody from the cartels.
do you think that's
It's
possible?
because the
Because,
police.
right, because the
Yes,
politicians are
only they
corrupt
have.
too.
Yeah, but they had to bring the president from the El Salvador.
Why El Salvador?
Everybody wished that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
the guy
really?
he put in the jail all the people, the criminals.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true. No,
Yeah,
you're
but
right.
El Salvador's broke also.
Sorry, what'd you say, Jeff?
El
But
Salvador's
yeah,
completely broke. They have no money.
Yeah, I know. That's
They,
true.
they switched to cryptocurrency, and
Nah, really?
they literally have nothing.
Wait. They really switched to cryptocurrency?
They made cryptocurrency an accepted state currency about
Wow.
2 years ago, right at the top of the market, right when it crashed, and
Wow.
they started building all these projects or whatever, and there's no money. And I mean, listen, half of El Salvador lives in the United States, or is sort of on their way between Central America and traipsing their way up through Mexico.
A lot of them moved down here too. Actually, one of my closest friends is El Salvadorian, so
You've
yeah,
got
there's a few of them here too. Yeah, I do. As a matter of
You're
how popular
popular.
I am, Jeff. You know that. Come on.
I don't
I
have any
work for the
friends.
cartels,
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah.
Sorry.
In El Salvador they had a Bitcoin city, but it's
Yeah,
not working anymore.
it's not working
Huh?
anymore. Yeah,
It like lost like 70% of its value since they took it on.
Wow.
But anyway, over there are no more criminals. And the criminals, what they are doing, because they had some tattoos in
Yeah.
specific, and they can recognize to them. But they are going to the somewhere and try to erase these tattoos, because if
Really?
they will find what they had in the day body, they're going to put in the jail. And these
Yeah.
guys, they
Well,
are sleeping on the floor of the jail.
I
the
guarantee there's
gang.
still criminals. They're just the police officers and the army now. So
Right. Well, the gangs in El Salvador, especially the main one, is called Mucha Salvatura. The main gang, yeah, the 13, Mucha Salvatura
MS-13.
13,
But now,
MS-13,
but
right?
yes, now in the Salvador they had a dollar, and they are called to the people from El Salvador. They say coming and living in here, because here we are doing better.
I
But
know
people they don't
they're
want
trying to
that
get
in El
stabilized.
Salvador.
Use the dollar. All of those countries should use the dollar,
Right?
America would love that,
What
wouldn't
country here?
of course.
Yes,
I mean, it
yeah,
certainly
only Ecuador.
it certainly bolsters a currency when other countries are using your
they? I
currency.
know. That's why. That's why I
Only
said that.
Ecuador. Only Ecuador, because Peru has the sol, Colombia has the pesos,
Well, there's a
Venezuela
downside
has the
too, 'cause
Bolivar.
you have to print more money, and then there could be inflationary effects as well.
You see, does that affect America when other countries? I know it makes it better, the dollar, right?
It shouldn't, because the money is going out of the country. It's going literally to another country's account. So it shouldn't make the dollar worth less domestically. So I don't, listen, there's an expression that there's only two people in the world who understand economics, and they disagree. So
Good point. That's actually quite a good point. But I'm interested because how many countries? I know there's a fair few. I mean, I didn't know Ecuador used the American dollar. I know America Samoa obviously uses it. Is there any other countries?
Nigeria, she just
yes.
said El Salvador. I'm pretty sure Panama does.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't
The
surprise
dollar,
me.
Panama.
I think Liberia does.
Liberia
Yes,
too.
and the Panama. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a few countries that do. I don't think it's like 10 or 15, but it's like 6 or 7. I mean, I don't know about the island nations, and I don't know the difference between the ones that are protectorates and territories, and they're technically independent, but they're really not, and whether they have their own currency or not. I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Obviously, I know Puerto
But
Rico.
in my home,
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
my
Yeah,
God.
Puerto Rico's U.S. though. I mean,
Right,
you're
that's
born
what I was
there, you're a
gonna say.
U.S. citizen.
Right.
It's just not a state, but apparently they don't want to be a state. So
There's talk of it becoming a state though. But
well, there's
so
always talk, but when they have referendums, they vote it down. They're probably smart. They probably want to retain autonomy, although their government hasn't done so well, especially in the light of those earthquakes. They exposed a lot of corruption and incompetence as well. But
a lot of
remember when Trump was throwing them bounty towels, like he was shooting jump shots.
Yeah. What's all the talk of Trump? But before we get into that, sorry, Viv, what were you going to say?
I say my country we had a dollar by 23 years ago.
That long? 23 years ago?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I remember when they switched the sucre with the dollar. 25,000 sucres for $1. Everybody loves a lot of money.
Oh, wow. But is it
The
better
funny
for
thing
Ecuador?
is that the number one counterfeiting country of American dollars, probably besides America itself, is Peru. And they probably got all the dollars, the templates, from Ecuador.
Wow, that doesn't surprise. I think Peru is the number one counterfeit country in the world when it comes to counterfeit money anyway.
Yeah,
I saw a documentary about that.
Yeah,
like
I know that I know that they're either number one or number two in the U.S. I just don't want to discount that there's not more counterfeiters in the U.S., but Peru might be number one.
What about China? But
China likes its own currency. I mean, they would probably counterfeit just to devalue the dollar, but
right.
I don't know. But they don't want inflation here because China plays a strange game. Because they want us to buy stuff, and 80% of the stuff either comes from there or it comes from components from there. So they don't really love inflation either. Because they want us to keep buying shit, and the cheap shit, and the cheap shit comes from them.
Oh, don't worry. They'll go pop eventually, very soon.
Oh, I know they will. From the weight of their own population, they will. And,
absolutely.
That's why. That's why I'm not so worried about the whole Taiwan thing, because I don't think it's great, but Hong Kong isn't thrilled. There's entire populations, and what's happened is they had a huge oligarchy, but because when you have a huge oligarchy, you unintentionally create middle classes, and now all of a sudden they have a huge middle class that wants things, and then rich people who aren't in the right caste who want things, and that trickles down, and people want more freedom, and and they can travel more, and they do foreign investment. So China wages the soft power game, except for everything except the South China Sea and the Sea of Japan, where and obviously
and India, the Himalayas as well.
Oh yeah, with Tibet and definitely in their southwest. But there's those are historical skirmishes. But so's Taiwan. But but they keep building fake islands, man-made islands to expand their claims to exclusive economic zones.
If it was up to China, they would claim all of Asia, pretty much, Japan included, historically, going by historical sort of reference.
They want regional hegemony, and
100%.
they're very happy to have Russia be their Cuba, their stooges that they send people everywhere, and I don't know. It's weird because those two countries historically do not get along at all. So expect something to drop there. Meanwhile, there was a Putin opposition, I think an actress or something, and she was found dead in a swimming pool.
I was going to ask you, is she dead yet?
Yeah. Another accidental death.
I hate how they're doing. I hate how Putin's doing this. I mean, anyone that's remotely close to getting him, they're dead.
He doesn't care.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't.
But no one's doing it. No one's doing anything about it. Someone should.
Who?
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe
there's an
the
arrest
West.
warrant out from the international court. I mean, who's going to serve that warrant?
Is he not the biggest dictator ever in many ways? When you think about it, I mean, no one's got a chance.
I mean, I don't know about ever. There's, Stalin, Hitler, and there's Genghis Khan. I mean, there's people in history, Pol Pot now. I mean, there's people in history who certainly, are up there. But right now, relative to power, relative to the rest of the world, he's definitely the biggest dictator and most dangerous dictator. I mean, Xi maybe is a bigger dictator. I'm not sure that China is really as dangerous as Russia. I mean, they haven't yet invaded a sovereign country. I mean, Russia invaded, Ukraine in 2014. They invaded Georgia, Soviet Georgia. I mean, this is, they have little enclaves in Moldova that's called Transnistria. They have
and
a
Belarus.
little enclave on Belarus is like a police state. They have a little enclave that's sort of like on the other side of Poland, like between Poland and Germany. It's like
Hungary, I think too.
Chechnya, they basically,
Boy, that's like that never happened suddenly with Chechnya.
Well, they bulldoze them over and they put in a puppet government that's completely friendly. They sort of work softly through NATO, through Bulgaria. They're kissing up to Hungary.
Yeah, I mean, all the Slavs are pretty much under sight with Russia, pretty much.
But Serbia's backing away a little bit. I mean, Poland certainly. I mean, Poland is like,
Poland wants nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
dude.
they got their spears up. So Poland's basically leading the world right now. Poland and the poor little Baltics. The Estonia's they send 24 MiGs. I mean, how many MiGs could Estonia possibly have?
Wow, politics, man. It's a weird thing. What was I going to say, Viv? In Ecuador, do you think it's better for the country to actually use the American dollar, or do you think it would be better eventually to go back to an Ecuadorian dollar?
I think before they are changed the dollar for the sucre, okay, for people, they was working like outside from the country. It was good because they can come into the country and spend the money, the dollars and sucres, and it was good for them. But I think so. If they doesn't change the sucre for the dollar, I think in this country stay like very cheap, like when El Salvador it was, and that the Salvador before the dollar, and they was had this kind of money. The people can saving money in El Salvador. Do you understand me?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Do you understand me? Yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
I think it's better the dollar. It's better the dollar.
But for Ecuadorians, but to go to America, wouldn't it would cost more for them, but wouldn't it?
Is the cost, the money?
To go to America, say.
Okay, I don't understand your question.
What I mean, like,
well, it's been 25 years, so I mean, it's
no. What I mean, because they don't make as much money in Ecuador, say they want to go to America, they'd be paying more money, essentially, wouldn't they?
Well,
yes, in America, it's for them it's more money. Yes.
Well, that's practically everywhere.
The rent is less money.
I mean, there's only a handful of
But
places
here
where
it's
their
difficult.
currency is
Difficult
worth
to
more than
buy
one
that
US dollar.
car.
Well, yeah, no, of course. No, of course. I think only the pound is, that's it.
I
Oh, maybe the euro as well.
Yeah,
maybe.
the euro every now and then is, every now and then the Japanese yen gets up there. I mean, Canadian dollar.
We went ahead of you guys
Yeah.
a couple of times, but very rare. But it
No,
happens.
it's not unheard of. I mean, there
It doesn't
are,
last
but
long.
Right, it usually doesn't last long.
When we were ahead of you guys, dude, I was buying from the States like big time. Like I bought as much as I could before the dollar went straight back down. I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but right now it's like 80 cents or 78 cents around there for us. But yeah, and that kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, when I was in Australia, I always got the extra large fries because, I could.
Yeah, plus the extra large fries here probably still weren't as big as the American one, right?
No, we're the fattest.
We're the second fattest, believe it or not,
I
in the
think
world.
Germany is actually the fattest now.
Actually, let's look it up now.
Yeah,
I know
I think
back
I think Germany somehow surpassed us. A lot of brats and Wiener Schnitzel and
Schnitzel.
it's that heavy beer.
Yeah, too much beer, but we love beer here too. Oh, here we go. Obesity rate. Let me just see. Wow, none of us are anywhere near it right now, dude. Believe it or not.
Who is Russia? Tell me Russia.
No, get this. This is an Australian territory, but that's number one. But it's an islander, Pacific Islander country. Nauru is number one. And then Cook Islands. And then Palau. And then Marshall Islands. Tuvalu. Tonga, Samoa. The US is basically number 11. And Australia, where did Australia go? Number 27. Wow.
Wow, you guys are svelte.
Wow. Yeah, we dropped big.
What's going
time.
on in those islands? Is everyone like Juicy Fatu?
Well, yeah, that's essentially what it is. But because Nauru
We're all
is
like Rikishi.
well, hey,
We're
think
eating
about
for
it.
the Rock.
The heart disease is number one for all Pacific Islanders. That's the number one killer of them, man.
No
I mean,
wonder
look at it.
Roman Reigns works so hard. Why he's so tired? He's the head of the table. He's got to feed everyone. Jeez.
Well, think about it. Do you remember when he was gaining weight and his hips were sort of getting big?
Nope, I don't.
If you remember, Jeff.
I don't remember when
There was
got
one
there in
point.
hips.
No, there was one time where Roman Reigns was starting to gain a bit of weight. We're talking about it on the show. Anyway, my point is, if he stopped training just for a week, I bet he would gain so much weight. He needs to just keep training, man. Otherwise, he'd just gain weight after like pound after pound, 100%. That's
Well,
why
he'll
I
probably
feel
go to
bad for him.
Hollywood, so he'll probably get a trainer and he'll probably actually lose like 20 pounds.
Yeah, imagine him all anorexic and shit. I mean, come on.
He won't. I mean, like Cena, he's lost like 15, 20 pounds for
Yeah,
Hollywood.
but it doesn't look good on him though, man.
Yeah, but in the movies, you look bigger. I mean, The Rock is the only one who keeps getting bigger and keeps getting roles.
Yeah, because he's pretty much his own boss. I mean, when you think about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why. I mean, shit. And The Rock, I mean, he looks awesome. Why would he want to lose weight? If I was his age and I looked like that, I'd be happy, man.
Well, I mean,
Come on.
If you're any age and you look like that, I mean, come on.
Absolutely. I mean, come on.
He
Shout out
looks
to
like
Dwayne.
friggin' Mr. Clean. I mean, come on.
Here, Mr. Clean is called Mr. Sheen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not sure why.
Like Charlie Sheen? Because
Yeah,
he's winning?
like literally S-H-E-E-N. I don't know why, but yeah.
H.
You'd think it'd be Mr. Shine or something like that.
I don't know.
Was Mr. Clean bald?
Yep. As
Same
long as I've
thing.
been
Mr.
alive.
Sheen was bald. Same character. Yeah, it
like
is.
fucking, what's his
Same thing. I'm telling you, D.
name? John Howard.
No, he doesn't.
What's going on there,
No.
Vivi? What's
What's
going on,
that?
BB? What you doing, BB?
Nothing. I am listening to you guys.
So what's the wrestling news? Have you been keeping up with the wrestling?
Yeah.
Should I get tickets
do you
to
even like
Dynamite for
wrestling?
May 3rd? AEW Dynamite's going to Baltimore May 3rd. Should I get us tickets?
Where? Where did you say in Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
When?
May 3rd. It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Will you be home by then?
I think I will figure out.
Okay.
I cannot promise you because you know what.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even like wrestling?
I don't know. She doesn't really. She likes.
do you like
She
wrestling,
likes
Viv,
going
deep
to
down?
live, but I mean, I don't think she really likes
When
wrestling. But when she's there, she has a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's like mine.
yes.
Mine
I
used to
think
hate it.
it's no all women they doesn't like the wrestling.
No,
I don't think all
there are a
women.
lot of women who like wrestling now. It's like sort of like a
Now it's
yeah,
become like that.
it's sort of
yeah.
like a new thing.
I think it's all the husbands and boyfriends and stuff that have forced them to like it. Like
No,
D for
there's
me.
no husbands and boyfriends in wrestling.
Well, whatever, right? But like with D, she hated wrestling, dude. She used to cringe when I would play it. Like she'd be like, I don't want to watch it, blah blah blah. And now she know how much she knows about it. She could probably do a show over it because she gets into all the dirt sheet stuff and the podcasting and stuff. So I find that kind of funny. And now she's actually kind of into it. Weird,
She can
right?
be D Hecklefish.
The goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
She's playing video games right now, as a
That's
matter
great.
of fact. And it's a Russian game, a Russian-based game. What the hell?
Is the character
Anyway.
she's shooting? Does he look like you?
Nah. It's actually an interesting plot. It's kind of interesting. But anyway. But you know what, Jeff? I think we should get into the wrestling, though, dude.
Alrighty. All right, Viv, you gonna stick around and listen, or are you gonna sign off?
Okay, thank you for having me. I had to go. You know, I had to do some things here.
No, thank you, Lasakaria, for being on. And you're more than welcome to always come on our shows.
That's right. You look so cute.
Bye bye, bye Jimmy. Bye Papacito.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Viv.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
Hey.
What'd you say?
Okay,
Yep. Bye. And come home soon, huh? Jeffy's waiting for you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh,
Take care.
thank you.
Okay.
Hey, what happened?
Goodness.
Oh, there she is. Should I?
Ah, all right.
There
we go. So, what were we talking about? Oh, news.
Yes.
All right. So all right. We talked about Gunter. Talked about the Vince McMahon movie. All right. So there's a few free agents. Mercedes Moné already a free agent.
Already.
Goldberg has been a free agent since the end of 2022, and there's speculation he's going to AEW, which I think reveals them to be complete frauds because Goldberg is like sort of like everything that they claim they don't like, but we'll see.
I don't think he'd go there unless the money was that big.
He'll go anywhere.
Okay, interesting.
The Garcia twins and Alicia Atut today, well, technically yesterday, requested and was finally, she said, granted her release from MLW. So, I mean, she's only been on this season, I think, once in what was a semi-live, as opposed to a recap from the season before. Yeah, so they're down to what, like 7 people under contract. But probably the big news of the week has been the speculation about. I mean, we already talked about El Hijo de Vikingo, right? Yeah, we did. So
not tonight, but we did. Like,
yeah, but we don't need to
last
talk about
week.
that tonight.
Right.
Is Bray Wyatt and Bill Body on Keeping It 100.
Oh God, I can't stand that guy, dude.
I don't really know much about him, but what I know, I don't like now. The only thing I know of value is when him and Sean Ross Sapp got into like almost a fight at that convention,
That was
and
so gay.
and there was the meme of that woman who was standing next to him, looking up at them like, "You silly boys," and I love that. I saved that picture. Anyway, but apparently he's fairly dialed in. Anyway, basically he reported a chronology, I'm going to go in chronological order, not the order that he reported. But basically, a few years ago, Bray was on the verge of being fired, and then he came up with the Fiend character, and that saved him because it was the #1 merch dealer. So basically, he got JoJo pregnant. And he needed time off for that. They're like, fine. Then he immediately got JoJo pregnant again. He needed time off for that. And they said, fine. And then after that, he needed time off for a mental health break. And, and Vince was still in charge. And they're like, Vince isn't sick. Vince doesn't do sick. But, so that's when they started getting annoyed with him. But he came up with the Fiend, and that saved him. And so when he came back, he so apparently he does have mental health challenges, which, that's sort of almost like a generational thing. I mean, I'm sure it's always existed, but it seems to be much more debilitating for people who are, say, I don't know, your age and under.
It's true. You're right.
I mean, I don't know if it's because the stigma's removed, and so if it's accepted, people are able to lean into not forcing them to do things, or if things are just worse. I don't know. Anyway, so when he came back, this it's been meandering. That's being polite, and they've been very displeased with him. So what they wanted at WrestleMania was for Brock to beat the crap out of him, but they wanted someone who was, big and credible enough, and basically it would be Brock beating the crap out of him, Uncle Howdy saying, "Look, you're a disgrace," and him being so defeated that would bring back the Fiend, that would bring out the Beast, that would bring out the Monster. And Bray didn't want to do that. And also Brock didn't want to do it. So then they came up with Lashley. Because they're like, well, he's just as credible, so let's have him do it. So that would be good. Lashley gets a dominating win on WrestleMania, and then Bray's like, he no-showed that MSG show, which was without permission. But then they gave him permission. Can I ask
you, was it you that posted about the janitor?
No,
someone
sent it to us.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that was real, or if that was just someone saying, my friend, how there always people are citing unknown sources. I mean, 50-50 on that one. Anyway, so then they actually gave him the week off. So he's off now with permission. But he's supposed to be back Monday. So they gave him basically 2 weeks to get his shit together. If he comes back Monday, I guess the match with Bobby is still on the way they're going to do it. If he doesn't come back Monday and he doesn't agree to do the match the way they wanted and bring back the Fiend, he's probably out.
I agree. I think even if he does come back, right, this coming Monday, I've got a funny feeling even after WrestleMania, he's going to get released, dude.
Now, everything I just said is from Bill Body. That's not from me. And
he's got a good track record. I'll give him that. That's true.
He has some dial. That, I mean, what he said is he found out all of this stuff from people who wanted to know the lines, the betting lines on WrestleMania, and there weren't any. And so apparently they led him to the story. Like he wasn't looking for it. So it was like gambling people in Vegas. So I don't know.
It makes sense though. I mean, you can get a lot out of seeing that.
Yeah. So anyway, so this story comes from him, the conversation with Conan and Bill Body. I mean, I guess you can, look it up and listen to the podcast or whatever you want to do. I can confirm only this. And I'm not going to reveal my source. My source isn't really even a source, in that they haven't agreed to be a source necessarily, but they knowingly provided me with information. I mean, it wasn't a secret. But that Bray is physically healthy, supposedly happy, at home. Nothing about being ill, nothing about mental ill, but this is a source that probably wouldn't reveal that.
Right.
And that he's sick and tired of the politics. Which,
fuck off.
If you read between the lines, it does add some credence to the Bill Body story. Obviously, there's a lot more specifics in his story, so it could be completely different. I cannot confirm anything that Bill Body said, not a word of it. Right. But I can confirm what I said, and the person that is my source is a personal friend of Bray Wyatt. It's not a friend of a friend of a friend or this. Right. I mean, it's a personal friend. So so according to this person, whether he's protecting him or this is his understanding, Bray's healthy, but just sick of the politics. Whether that translates to a friend is sick of the politics and he's fine, as to how that would translate internally to WWE or to the general public, that he's having a breakdown. But Bill Body also reported, again, I don't know the answer, but it seems consistent with what other people get, that he's getting $3.5 million a year, before bonuses and merch.
Wow.
So he's one of the highest paid performers there. It's Roman, I think. Cody is next. Brock's salary is lower, but with all of his bonuses and his appearances, he'll probably end up more as the highest
100%.
paid. After that, it's Seth and Becky together. Body made a big deal that Becky's the one who has the bus, though. She is the one who got the bus.
Really?
Bus. Yeah.
That makes sense.
With her picture on it.
No, really?
Yeah, and then I guess it's like, then I think it's Bray, and apparently it's sort of the same situation with Alexa Bliss. So it was sort of a weird pairing in that they sort of have the same condition that they sort of frequently need mental health breaks.
Well, what's happening with Alexa Bliss, actually? Because she came out on Twitter saying it's not what people are reporting and blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. Again, this is Bill Body reporting that she needs mental health breaks a lot. I have no idea if that's the case or if they just sent her home because her story was supposed to be tied to the Wyatt story, and without knowing what's going on with Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, et cetera, there's nothing to do with her. And I guess since they're hoping that it will be re-railed again as opposed to derailed, they'll get her back involved when it's supposed to happen in that story. If it doesn't, I don't know what happens with her. I mean, I hope they do something with her. But I've got no idea. I mean, I guess they'd have to figure out a new direction, and I don't know what they can do. Send her to those therapy sessions again, where they have those skits. I mean, they were pretty funny, but I mean, this time she'd have to actually be cured.
Oh Jesus! Oh boy! Well,
or
it's
she'd
a
have
mess.
to become a fiend. I mean.
Well, what's a fiend exactly? I mean, a fiend. When I hear fiend, I think of like a drug fiend.
Well, a fiend is just a friend without the R.
Wow.
No, a fiend is a villain. But what the fiend is, and this is why I appreciate what Bray has done, because it's something. I know people like to compare it to like other spooky or supernatural characters, but it's not. What Bray is trying to do is he's trying to bring a horror movie into wrestling. Like he's got a bigger vision, and
which is it's too deep for wrestling. Let's be real.
Well, it is too deep, but also he loses the plot. He's like Zack Snyder. When his hour and 45-minute movie turns into 4 hours. That's Bray Wyatt. His storyline, which is simple with a couple clever paths, he needs to turn it into a tree of life. That's my impression from what I'm seeing. This is not from any source. This is Jeff opining right now. What he's doing is like sort of the opposite of what Matt Hardy did with the Broken Universe. It like all worked. It all worked in that crazy, zany way. It was beautiful madness. And one of the reasons I hate the AEW audience is because they rejected it. And
I know, how stupid, right?
Yeah, how stupid. Boy, Matt Hardy's been giving them great shit by being, basically a regular wrestler now. God forbid you have anything interesting. But, I don't know. I mean, Bray needs to stay on path. And apparently, if the stories are correct, when they try to keep him on a path and he doesn't like it, well, as you were the first, seriously, you're the first one I heard say it. And everyone's jumping on it now, except for a couple of defenders and apologists who are believing the company line that he's sick. He has an illness. I mean, remember, mental illness is sickness too. So sickness can be a code. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's got to be COVID." No, it doesn't. It can be anything. But you said he took his ball and went home, and it does sound very much like he took his ball and went home. And one thing about depression and things like that is nobody can really call bullshit on it because there aren't obvious symptoms other than you sort of are antisocial and you if you say you're staying in bed, you can't get out of bed. Unless you're doing home inspection, how would you know?
It's facts. It's true. Well, thanks for the news, actually, Jeff. Is there anything else we need to touch on before we move on?
Yeah, I think that's quite enough because we've done an hour without actually even talking about Raw, which, by the way, is mostly a pleasure. But we were going the geopolitical show on the PWC.
I know. I felt bad for you, even, to be honest.
Spotlight on Ecuador.
Right. I mean, still, it was interesting stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I mean, but, Jeff of later today is going to hate Jeff of right now.
Oh, shit. Let's get into Raw. I'll try to breeze through it because I know it's really late for you. But we start off with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They get in the ring and on the mic as Kevin Owens says he thinks they like Sami Zayn, which gets him chance and lets Sami return the favor. Zayn says it feels really good to be out here on the same page again, and he didn't get a chance to say it last week. He gets it. He totally gets why Kev turned him down again and again, because he was approaching it wrong. He was looking at it like a business transaction, and that's never been how they operated, whether as friends or enemies. They used each other to get to the next level as friends and enemies, but they've always been brothers. Owens then says he's always
By
been
the way,
Sami's...
isn't that what I said on Smack Attack or Smack Talk? I said if that's what it is, if I go back and revisit all those promos, if that's what it is, if you never said that I need my friend again, I need you. We have, and I haven't gone back, and I never will because there's too many of them. But I bet it is. But that's exactly what he said. He said I was doing it wrong. I never said what I should have said. The first part is that I want my friend back here, my brother.
You did actually say that. Actually, you said it word for word. It was almost like they heard our show and they used that as a thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it was the magic words of "I love you" that really got Kevin Owens over the line, right? I mean,
I'm sorry, I love you.
Yeah, right. And that's what pretty much got him over the line. But anyway, Owens continues saying he's always been Sami's biggest fan. Always said that he's the best guy he's been in the ring with. So for the next 6 months under Roman's thumb, when he's better than any of them that hurt, he just couldn't take it. And last week, KO finally realized it was time to get over everything and take the bloodline down together. Sami says they both know what comes next and looks meaningfully at the WrestleMania sign. Enter the Usos though, mics in hand and titles over their shoulders. Jay also starts asking Jimmy if he sees what he sees, a backstabber, and says they're kind of family that cuts each other's throats, and Sami laughs it off, saying it's Jay's biggest dream to backstab Roman Reigns. Jimmy accuses Zayn of being in Dream World, thinking something's going to happen at WrestleMania, but nothing's going to happen. Owens then wants to get to the chase, because we all know where this is going, and there's only one way to settle it, and one place to do it. Jimmy and his brother against Kevin and his brother for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania. Jimmy then says they're the greatest team in the world and Sami and Kev don't deserve a shot because they've been on the same page for all 3 minutes now. Jay then interrupts, says to be honest though, this might be their one shot to put this Sami Zayn / Kevin Owens problem in the dirt. Brother versus brother at WrestleMania they accept, but the Usos don't want to wait and they rush to the ring and a brawl breaks out. Back inside, a super kick staggers Jay and Sami charges in, but Jimmy pulls his brother out of the way of the hell of a kick. Usos with chairs now, referees swarm to the ringside area, and we see Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns arrive at the arena in an SUV, and then we see Austin Theory making his entrance. But anyway, what do you think of the segment, Jeff?
That was pretty lazy. I mean, even though they used the line that I used, I mean, when the Usos came out, I mean, they had a couple of clever lines in there, but basically they're like, "You're not getting a match in WrestleMania." Wait a minute, yes, you are. I mean, it was like stupid heels. I almost wish that what they did is they have the Usos come out and started with their promo, and then Owens and Sami Zayn come out from the crowd and beat them out of the ring, and then they'd cut their promos, and the Usos are like, "Oh yeah. You've been together 3 minutes. You want to see brother versus brother? You're on. That's our."
I agree with you. I actually agree with you. I was
surprised. Preferred they reversed it around. I just thought it was. I just thought it was pretty lazy. I mean, like you said, they did basically word for word what I said, or at least Sami and Kevin did. That's because it's predictable. And not that that's bad. I just thought that the anatomy of it wasn't good. And again, I thought the Usos just. I mean, it's like, "You're not getting a match," and then at first they're like, "You're not getting your match at WrestleMania," and then Kevin Owens is like, "Let's cut to it. We're here to get a match at WrestleMania." I mean, it's like they weren't listening to each other. It just felt like they were going through the motions, which is what most of the last 3 weeks have felt that way, except for certain segments here and there, and certain segments with the Bloodline. Including the end of this show, which was good, which involved the Bloodline again. So, I mean, it's not like it certainly hasn't been all bad, but they've definitely there's been more stumbles towards the end of this road towards WrestleMania than there were in the prior 10 months and the prior 2.5 years with the Bloodline.
Well, they're rushing it. That's the problem too. I feel like they're trying to get over the line really fast, which is on them. That's their fault, not the wrestlers. I'm talking about WWE and the booking committee.
But I mean, let's face it. This is mostly Paul Heyman's story. So I mean, but some people have been saying they're going too slow. I mean, I don't even know that they're rushing it. I just think that they're lazily putting it together. I think the pacing is okay. I just think that the way they're doing it is lazy. It just seems lazy. It's not creative at all. It's like, I don't know. It's like YouTube level promos.
YouTube level promos. Well, yeah, you've got a point. I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, I don't know if SmackDown's going to be, just as hectic. If you know what I mean.
It's like we all knew this match was happening, except for the people who thought that Sami Zayn was going to be a 3-way, which was ridiculous. It was never going to be that. But it's like they're acting like they always knew it was going to match, and they're like, "Okay, let's get it over with so we can set it."
It's true, 100%. And it was lazy. Even last week, as good as the moment was, I'm talking about on SmackDown, with that hug that was heard around the world, or felt around the world. It's still lazy, though, the way even though it was a great moment, and it did give me chills. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was great.
The hug was great, but how you got there was lazy. But the hug was great. Because the fact that the end was lazy doesn't change the fact that 9/10 of what it took to get here was great. And
for sure.
I'm trying to think of a similar wrestling story, and because there's generally nothing new under the sun in wrestling.
The Mega Power was exploding.
This whole thing was new, so it's different. And wrestling stories aren't usually this long and this deep. I mean, you can have long rivalries, and you can have long-term storytelling, or things that come around that refer to something old, like Rhea and Charlotte. And some people could say Adam Page and the Elite, whatever, it's fine. Bullet Club constantly breaking up and not breaking up, or, kicking out a leader and getting a new leader, whatever. But this was new. I mean, the whole thing was different, and maybe that's why it's so wonderful. But again, they've been stumbling towards the end. And listen, that happens with a lot of shit. I mean, there's very few things where the end meets the first 95%. I mean, I think the only thing that gave me that satisfaction was Avengers Endgame. And they've been stumbling and bumbling since then, too.
It's true. It is what it is. Well, let's move on to the next match. It is Austin Theory versus Montez Ford. Theory does win by pinfall with an 8-count down. I'm surprised. I mean, is Montez just going to job out now again?
How could you be surprised? Theory is the champion. He's got to win. And he beat Dawkins last week. I'm surprised it was as clean a win as it was, but I'm glad. And yeah, the Street Profits, it's not their turn. I mean, they're, I don't know what they're going to do.
Looks like nothing.
Yeah, I guess they'll be, they'll probably be in the Andre Battle Royal, and maybe they'll start teasing a dissension or whatever. Maybe that'll be their story. Will they, won't they split up, which has sort of been their story off and on for 18 months now. But yeah, Austin Theory, I have to tell you, he has one of the best drop kicks in the business.
Oh, man, I love Austin Theory. I'm going to say it now, straight up. But post-match, though, Theory, weeping bloody tears from one eye like some kind of haunted saint, gets on the mic and says Ford didn't believe in him, but now he does. John Cena doesn't believe in him, but at WrestleMania he will. And that was that. As backstage, though, the Usos meet with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Jimmy also says nothing hits him harder than being torn from his brother and then sitting here and having to answer for it like it's his fault. And he'll never forgive Sami Zayn for this. At WrestleMania, though, he's got him. Reigns says he hopes so and calls for Paul Heyman. He tells everyone to leave but him but Jay. And we cut to a break before he gives out whatever tongue lashing he's got planned. But it continues because as we come back from commercial, Roman says it's been a minute and he hasn't seen or heard from him. And now he's back making decisions. He asks if he's standing with the family. And Jay says he is. A long tense pause ensues and Reigns says he'll see him later. When Uso goes to get up, he grabs his hand. He tells Jay he loves him, and Paul Heyman kneels beside his tribal chief and asks if he found the answers he was looking for, and Roman says he did, and that was that. What do you think of this? Are we seeing an explosion about to happen after WrestleMania here, or what's happening?
I mean, everyone all of a sudden is pretending that Jey Uso is going to be a single star.
No.
They've tried it before. Maybe they'll try it again. I don't know. I mean,
I don't see it. I actually don't see it. Not right now.
I don't see it either. And why would you break up what might be the greatest tag team, arguably ever, but of the modern era? I mean, I would put them right up there with the Briscoes of the best tag team of the last 20 years.
Right. And not just that, why do we need family to break up? Like, why do we need the blood? Even if they all lose, say, at WrestleMania, do we really need the bloodline to, like, split?
Yeah, I don't know. And I didn't find any of this intriguing. I didn't.
It's the same as previous weeks. Exactly
right.
The same.
At this point, I found myself going, I don't care what Roman has to say at this point. I really don't. And I'm tired of, these guys, acting like lapdogs or whatever. I don't want the bloodline to implode, but I don't mind if they start having some doubts. I mean, I
that's fine.
Exactly. No, but this, you asked me about the segment. I didn't think much of it. I thought this was pretty lazy too, and frankly, they would have been better off if they put on another match.
True. Well, let's move on though, because we see Adam Pearce is being interviewed about the WrestleMania Showcase matches, and then Chelsea Green rolls up to beg for attention. She said she had a matching gear made up for her and Carmella, but Mella's nowhere to be found, so she wants to team with a new partner tonight, and that new partner is Piper Niven. Pearce says he's the one that makes the decisions, and she demands a spot in the match. He says he's still finalizing the teams, and she pulls a "Do you know who I am" card. Mm-hmm. I love that. She threatens to go onto social media and put him on blast, or worse, block him. And
how could she do that? She never remembers his name.
True. That's actually.
Who's she going to block? Me?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe he should tell her that his name is Matt Cardona.
Well, actually, that's a news tidbit that we forgot to mention. Apparently, he's going to be one of the surprises at the Raw after Mania, if reports are to be,
That's what they're saying, but listen, I see him getting more titles everywhere. I see him tweeting everywhere for bookings. He's got his booking email and up there. Sense. So I don't know. Like, listen, I was sure he was going to be at the Royal Rumble, and as days go by, I'm getting less and less sure of anything. As long as she's doing well, and she is, he seems to be having fun. I don't know. I don't know that they need anyone else.
I don't even want him, dude, to come back straight up.
I wouldn't mind him back. I mean, I like what he's doing, but it's like I feel like Logan Paul, The Miz, Austin Theory, in NXT, Grayson Waller, they're all sort of the same character. I mean, even LA Knight is sort of the same character. I mean, So if they're going to bring him back, I mean, they need to cut a lot of chaff to bring back people to get time. I mean, and some of them are like Triple H's favorites. I mean, Gargano, Loomis, Baron Corbin, the Good Brothers, Shanky. I mean, it's like
Shanky.
There's like a bunch of chaff out there. I mean, and there's people that aren't doing anything. I mean, you got like Nakamura still on the roster. I mean,
where the fuck is Nakamura? What's going on with him, dude?
I have no idea. I mean, R-Truth is coming back soon, I suppose. Ciampa's coming back, although they should send him back to NXT. He's nothing there. But I don't know. There's about a lot of dead weight there. I hate to say it, but our friend Cross, nothing. The Vikings, I'd say, are pretty much nothing. There's a lot of dead wood there. So if they're going to bring someone back, they need to make some room. Plus, I mean, everyone and their mother thinks that they're bringing Braun Breaker up, after WrestleMania. So
I'm not too sure about that just yet.
Well, I'm sure that they are. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but I'm very much in the minority about Braun Breaker. So,
well, I don't know if you want to call him ready or not, but he's overdue to be put onto the main roster. Put it that way.
Well, Carmelo Hayes is going to win that title, and
Do you think so?
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, next we have another matchup. It is Mustafa Ali versus Omos. Didn't we see this match a long ago?
Deadweight, Mustafa Ali, my God, and Dolph Ziggler.
Oof. Well, anyway, Omos wins by pinfall via chokeslam. Post-match, though, we have MVP gets on the mic and talks about how Brock Lesnar is going to learn to fear the Nigerian giant. And then we see security knock on Logan Paul's door, and he and his entourage end up stepping out.
You know, that was his dad.
Well, apparently his dad was there.
Right, his dad was the guy talking to him. Who goes, "Who was that?" He didn't know who the Miz was. So you tell me his father didn't watch his match at WrestleMania last year?
I'm sure he
or
did.
SummerSlam, whichever one it was, when he fought the Miz.
Could we get the dads getting involved, including the Miz's old man? Like,
oh my God, that would be fantastic. That would be the only part about this. I mean, except that at some point, sure, but Logan Paul, remembers in a program with that idiot in pajamas. What was it? Seth Wendy Chu Rollins?
Yeah. He was in pajamas, literally. I know, it's stupid, but whatever.
I have no idea what anybody sees in him. I have no idea. I don't get it. I don't get a single thing about it.
I get it, but I don't know why you're so against him. But anyway, whatever. The Miz interrupts, asking him to go.
Send them to AEW. They all love him.
Oh, please. The Miz interrupts, asking him to go over some questions for tonight, assuming he wants him as his first guest on his show tonight. But Logan tells him it's a hard pass and keeps moving to send us to the break. As we come back, though, from the break, we get Logan Paul making his entrance to host Impulsive TV. Or should I say Repulsive TV? He welcomes us to the show. Right.
Don't even read the promo. He insulted the crowd. He insulted the city. He totally went by the numbers. At some point, he remembered that he was a performer and got a little bit of charisma back. And Seth Rollins apparently was fucking with stuff in the production truck and then played his own music, wearing leopard skin pajamas and a leopard skin scarf and or bandana and like these ridiculous women's sunglasses that were almost like upside down cat eye shaped with.
You're right.
It was just the most ridiculously stupid outfit, and I hate every single person that chants along with his song because I just hate you all.
Wow, the hate! I can
hate
feel
you
it
all.
from here. Jesus Christ! Well, the crowd were into him as per usual. They're all going, but all for nothing because Seth...
all of them. Taking names down.
Well, it was all for nothing because in the end, Rollins does pretty much get a beating once again, and which makes it even more obvious that Seth is going over because next week, I'm sure... Actually, maybe not. Because it is the final week, right? Unless we have more happening on SmackDown next week.
I don't think Logan Paul's coming back next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case,
Seth got knocked out again by that titanium reinforced right hand.
Yeah. Right.
Was he Wolverine?
Fuck. Who the fuck knows? But whatever. It was his 28th birthday, mind you, too. I'm talking about Logan Paul.
You know that he's younger than Sammy Guevara?
Is he?
Yeah,
Wait, how old is Sammy
Guevara
Guevara?
is 29 years old.
Jesus Christ.
We've looked this up. You've looked this up 100 times.
Yeah, I know. You're probably right. No, you're right. Well, anyway, speaking of young, we do have Dominic Mysterio versus Johnny Gargano. And funny enough, Dominic Mysterio does win by pinfall via the frog splash. Though post-match, Mysterio gets on the mic and says his good-for-nothing father denied his challenge to a match at WrestleMania, but he's not going to stop until he gets what he wants. And at the end of the day, he knows that the entire family will be at SmackDown this week. The same family that blocked his number, kicked him out of the group chat, and wanted nothing to do with him. But that's okay, because the Judgment Day group chat is better, and he thinks he has a way to get Ray to accept his match, which is asking his mum for permission. Oh, God.
If he can get his balls out of her purse.
Wow. Right, exactly.
Okay, so 2 things on this. First, you had Damian Priest and Dexter Lumis as seconds, and they had 0 interaction. Like, what's the point unless they're going to get into a brawl? Just to have them on TV. Neither one of them did anything.
Stupid. This is probably the weakest thing ever, like between Dom and Ray.
Yeah, it was very weak. And the other thing is, Tony Khan, I know you watch the show, and I know that I'm secretly your favorite. So I have one favor to ask of you. Send Buddy Matthews just for this one night to be Aaliyah's date. Just
that'd be brilliant.
Just send them for this one night and then call him back. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to say anything. He just needs to stand there and look angry. I I'll totally turn face on you. No, I won't. But yeah, that's all I want for Christmas this year.
I do. I wouldn't be surprised if Buddy Matthews, whatever his name is, will be at the Hall of Fame ceremony. I've got a good feeling actually that he will be.
Zero chance.
You don't think so? Andrade was last year. Same with Aleister Black. And I said Aleister Black, not Malachi Black, because he was
were
there.
they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So expect him to be also there. Anyway. Ooh,
well, I guess he is Rhea Ripley's partner. They're not married.
Exactly.
But, yeah, all right.
Exactly. Backstage though, we see the Usos are hanging out with Solo Sikoa when Paul Heyman rolls up. He tells them if they're waiting for the Tribal Chief, he's waiting for them to get on the jet full of seafood and ready for them to indulge, except for Solo, who wants to talk to right now. And then we come back from commercial and we don't know what's happening there yet. But we get Edge cutting a spooky promo as a floating head in a room full of candles. The fuck is this, Jeff?
Well, this actually was one of the better parts of the show. Actually, it went a little too long, but basically Edge was saying that he's been baptized by the dead man himself in Hell in the Cell. So bring your demons. I'm the devil. So now we've got MJF's the devil and Edge is the devil.
Right. Whatever, man. I'm not even going to bother going through that promo, but he's a devil essentially, and that's that. But next we get Rhea Ripley making her entrance. She gets on the mic and says Charlotte Flair's... Yes, again. She says she needed to be a champion and a star, and she actually agrees with those sentiments or statements. But she doesn't agree with living in the past. Charlotte doesn't want to accept her future, and that's why she keeps talking about 3 years ago when they fought one-on-one for the first time. Flair thinks she's the leader of the women's division, but leaders respect people, and she doesn't think Charlotte respects anyone, least of all her, because she makes Flair question the respect she has for herself. She brings out all of Charlotte's insecurities because she knows that every time Rhea gets up and keeps going, and what Flair does is keep people down. She has to admit it's time. Charlotte's done and washed. It's over. And she has to go home where she means absolutely nothing, because without WWE, Flair is nothing. But Ripley doesn't care about insecurities or respect, because at WrestleMania, she'll become a champion and the biggest star in WWE. When Charlotte sees her holding the title, she'll know all her insecurities are true. And then we get Damage Control rolling up. Bailey speaks saying... Yeah, I know, it's stupid. Bailey speaks saying when Rhea was talking about leaders, she was waiting to hear her name. They all respect Ripley because anyone who puts Flair into her place gets their utmost respect. And if she needed tips, she could just ask Bailey for help. Rhea says she doesn't need any help from the three of them. And Bailey changes gears to talk about how cocky Ripley is and say it's time. Damage Control showed them that Raw is their show. And then Rhea issues a challenge. Bailey accepts, and we then see Adam Pearce dispatching a referee from Gorilla to officiate the contest and send us to the break. And essentially, Rhea Ripley wins by pinfall with a riptide, and Bailey loses. Last I checked, isn't this also Rhea's show?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they've been dueling about who runs this show. I mean, every faction runs this place, including the Outcasts in the AEW. Oh, yes. So everybody runs this place. If everyone runs the place, nobody runs it. But yeah, I mean, basically here, I mean, Rhea won because the Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish came out. Becky with a giant bag of popcorn. They got into a Damage Control, and while Bailey was looking to see what was going on, what's up, she basically turned around and walked into a riptide. So she was beaten clean, but I guess she's semi-protected. Why? Who cares?
Exactly.
This was lame. This was stupid. I still don't understand why, if you have women's tag team championships, you're not defending them on the most important show of the year. I get that you want legends there, but they could have broken it up. And this really feels more like a SummerSlam type of match or a Saudi Arabia type of match.
Cool.
But I guess maybe they lured the middle-aged women out with bigger WrestleMania bonuses, but I don't know that there's any bigger bonuses in Saudi Arabia, just because it's like 100% profit basically.
I thought there was for making the trip, but I don't know. But
Yeah,
Who
I mean,
knows?
but also they can afford to because, I mean, as much money as WrestleMania makes, there's a lot of costs involved in that WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
I mean, with Saudi Arabia, there's none. I mean, I'm, maybe there's the flight and hotel and the visas and that kind of stuff, but I'm not even sure that the kingdom doesn't pay for that. But it's basically, but whatever. If it costs them $2 million to run that show, and I don't think it costs them that much, they get $55 million. That's $53 million of profit.
Wow.
I mean,
Holy shit.
no WrestleMania has ever come close to doing that.
That's crazy, man. To think that not even WrestleMania comes close. I mean, the Saudi shows are the biggest money makers, no doubt about it.
Sure.
Well, anyway, let's move on though, Jeff, because I'm trying to swing this pretty quick for your sake.
Thank you.
But
and the audiences, because this show was I mean, aside from like maybe 5 segments, was mostly the drizzling shits.
Well, would you believe we're near the end already? So
I know you're doing great.
Yeah. No, thank you. Speaking of thank you, we see Chad Gable. He's looking for Otese and finds him having a spa day. Chad says he knows he's busy with modeling.
One of the good parts.
Absolutely.
He's getting his nails done. He's got cucumbers on his eyes. He's in a towel.
Oh, yeah.
His big belly is hanging out. It's great.
Anyway, Chad says he knows he's busy with modeling.
Cucumbers falls on his chest. He eats it.
Oh, God, it's disgusting.
It's hysterical.
Chad says he knows he's busy with modeling, but he got them a WrestleMania match in the Showcase 4-way, and he needs his prize pupil in his corner.
It's a Showcase 4-way.
I was asking you the same thing on the Smack Talk, dude. I have no fucking
why
idea.
do the women have to have qualifying matches for it, but the men's teams, they're just like, wouldn't it be good that you have 8 matches to put on these TV shows that have nothing but filler? And and actually have those matches to see them qualify. I mean, why who could possibly come up with such a thing? Oh, you did for the women's tag teams.
It's true. Well, anyway, Maxine then rolls up to interrupt and sells Otese on going and doing a hand modeling gig, and explains that her boys' match against the Good Brothers has been postponed. I didn't even know there was a match. She and Gable fight
last week
over.
was postponed also. The Good Brothers are hiding in a closet somewhere.
What's going on, man? Is this something we're not aware of other than AJ being injured? Is there something more going on here?
Nope, that's all it takes. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of buyer's remorse. I mean, they only brought them back for AJ, and so.
Actually,
But I have no idea. Who cares? Them not being on my TV is great. But this was great because like Chad Gable didn't know what was going on, but last week they also were supposed to have a match with the Good Brothers, and it got postponed because Mansois had a hangnail or something, and this time it was because Marseille got overexposed through an exfoliation or something ridiculous like that.
Damn it!
But when he was doing a Da Vinci shot, which is a real brand, and then Gable's like, what are you doing? She goes, if only you weren't so middle class. It was just great.
Well, that leads to a match, though. We'll also get the induction of Andy Kaufman into this year's WWE Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, very cool.
Which is cool. I hope the King would be able to actually induct him. Do you think he would be able to?
I hope he's healthy enough. Yeah.
Right.
And if he can't, I hope that it's Jim Carrey. I hope he's sane enough.
Well, that'd be interesting. True. That's true, too. Well, anyway, that leads to a match between Chad Gable and Ricochet.
Probably be Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, Annie great. I mean, come on.
I mean, his father was the one that presided over that whole thing.
For sure. Definitely, 100%. And RIP to his father. But anyway, Ricochet wins by pinfall with a shooting star press. And that's that. And then we see Bianca Belair make an entrance.
Because, Maxine wanted Otis to come with her, and Chad wanted him to, accompany him to the match.
And he went with Chad.
Right. Otis goes, Coach, let's roll. But during the match, Maxine comes out and she basically puts her hand on Otis' shoulder and, gives him little gentle, loving pats, and she secrets Otis away. And Chad's like, what's up? It's basically the same thing that happened with Bailey, except it wasn't violence.
Right.
He turns around and when he turns around, he basically walks into, Ricochet's, knocking him out and then hit him with the 450 splash. So, I mean, I don't know why Gable needs to be protected because he only takes pins, but somehow Alpha Academy and Ricochet and Braun are in this showcase 4-way along with the Viking Raiders. Who's the fourth team? I don't even remember. Is it the Bruising Brutes?
No, it was the Vikings.
Is it Street Profits? Are they the fourth team?
No, I don't think so either. Wait a minute, let me just look that up because I'm not even sure, man.
Okay.
The showcase.
It's not Los Lotharios. It's not Maximum Male Models. It might be the Good Brothers.
No, I never saw them advertised. I did see the advertisement, so I just want to see which one.
It's not Shelton and Cedric. That much I know.
No. Hell no.
It's not Dolphin Ali.
Alpha Academy. Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
It's Alpha Academy, the Street Profits, Viking Raiders,
It
and
is
Braun
Street
Strowman and Braun Strowman and Ricochet.
So obviously we're going to see Gable and Otese. You know, Gable's going to eat the pin again. So this will probably be where the Street Profits finally get a win.
It does nothing for him. Well, anyway, next we have essentially kind of the main event. It is Asuka and Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And essentially Asuka and Bianca Belair win by pinfall via KOD from Belair on Piper Niven. Post-match, though, Asuka lays Bianca out with a basement drop kick, and then we go to the break. Anything to say about this?
Can they coexist? Until not so much, but they got the win, and then no. But Asuka finally turned on that vicious dial that everyone's saying her character is the same except she has face paint. No, it wasn't. She was laying in wait. She was waiting her turn.
Absolutely agree with you 100%.
No
Anyway,
miss this time though. No miss.
Well, as we come back from commercial, we see Roman Reigns making his entrance, flanked by Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. Roman gets on the mic and demands St. Louis to acknowledge him. But as soon as he says that, we see Cody Rhodes then making his entrance. He gets on the mic and says normally he'd ask St. Louis, that dreaded line, what they want to talk about. But he knows Roman wants to talk about his warning to not let it get personal and his game to talk about that. He's heard they have a Cody Rhodes problem and he'd love them to define what they mean by problem. Heyman then steps up to explain, but Cody tells him to take a step back because he's talking to the tribal chief. Reigns says Rhodes isn't the problem, it's what he represents is the problem. He's what Roman used to be like. Their father's a professional wrestler, and he says that sort of jokingly. And you see he's a fighter, which lets him be a megastar. You come in here and you say all these things you're going to do, but we know he's not going to do them. Look at his track record. He didn't want to do Stardust, so he ran away and started a promotion he couldn't get over in. A lot of truth there. So he ran away. He then came back here and he got over and his body quit on him. Reigns then tells him he's not cut out for this and he's not going to finish this story. April 2nd is a moment, a lottery ticket, and the real moment will be when he wakes up on April 3rd and has to look in the mirror and confront the adversity. He wants Cody to make a choice that morning and that his dad could be proud of, because otherwise he's going to do what he always does and run like a little bitch. Nice line. Cody admits that what Roman is saying is true. The business broke his heart and he ran away. But what he did while he was away lets 100% of every locker room make a lot more money, which is a good comeback, because that's true too, than they used to be. He started here and he wanted to be a superstar. Maybe he's just a violent professional wrestler who likes the taste of blood in his mouth. Not quite, he's not Moxley. But he'll make it clear right here and right now that you don't need to bring up his father again. He's not going to swoop in and hit a bionic elbow. His brother works somewhere else also. And
elsewhere, he said.
Oh, yes, elsewhere. That's true. He did say that. And the only one you're going to see at Mania is him. You want to talk about family? He'll talk about his mean-ass Cuban mother, which is also true, who'd tell him to knock Roman down and then hit him again. And on April 3rd, Roman will have to wake up and remember what it means to lose and wake up without the titles. And when that happens, Jay's going to leave him too. And then Jimmy will go too. No Usos. Guess what happens next? Solo also will basically take off. He'll tell him something he had to learn when he was second generation flanked by the champion. You think you're ready, but you're not. Solo will leave too, and then Heyman will be the advocate again, and he'll be Roman with no more reigns, a chief without a tribe. I like that second sort of line. Reigns drops his mic, and he and Heyman leave without another word. Cody gets in Sokola's face and tells him to say when, and Solo backs down too. Rhodes then says he knew Solo wasn't ready, and that gets him to turn back around and eat a kick from the American Nightmare. And then they're all fired up, ready to fight, but Roman hits the apron and tells Solo to back down, and that's the show, Jeff.
Yeah, I thought if I was reading his lips, I thought he said next week.
I've got a feeling SmackDown or next week on Raw, Solo and Cody will have a match, obviously.
Because the beatdown's going. Now, this was the best part of the show, and I want to editorialize on something here because I've heard, I've read a lot of things going, okay, nobody in WWE can complain about every AEW promo being about WWE when that's all they talked about here. Okay, first of all, almost every friggin' promo in AEW has some WWE remark about it. I mean, we're going on 4 years now. There's been a few here and there alluding to it in WWE, and there have been with the Cody story. But it's integral to the Cody story. The fact that they're not ignoring reality is a pleasant change.
Right.
Now, if they're still talking about this in 6 months or a year with Cody, it's no longer integral. It's no longer interesting. It's no longer clever. Then it's a rightful criticism. But it really isn't even then until you hear like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin and Nakamura and Braun Strowman and everybody else making digs about AEW, and they're not. This is, there's been occasional things here or there, but
they're very selective,
right? And it's mostly about or around Cody, and especially here, it's part of the story. You ran away, now you're back because you failed, and he's like, I ran away, but I succeeded, and now I'm back and better than ever, and I'm ready to fulfill my mission. It's part of the story, so it's not the same thing. So anyway, but this was the best one. I thought Cody was really pretty good. This was probably the best I've seen him in his like corporate Cody promo mode. Roman actually seemed like he was a little bit shaken, and I think that all is sort of what everyone wants to see. They want they sort of like, I think people have mixed mind. They want to see the bloodline implode, but they don't. They sort of want to be the four horsemen where they end up picking themselves up, and they're still a villain in the squad. Everyone, like, there was people tweeting, like, what happens if the Bray Lashley match happens? What do you want to happen? And someone's tweeted, I'd like to see him face Bronson Reed. It's a Haas fight. I'm like, Bronson Reed?
Why?
I mean, no offense, but he's, low card. That's beneath Bobby. What I'd like to see is for him to join Omos after Omos beats Brock Lesnar and keep beating up Brock Lesnar because he's got unfinished business. But that the Hurt Business is done. And then at the end of WrestleMania, after Cody gets his moment, there's sort of like an epilogue, either on screen,
right?
You see it the next night, where you see the bloodline sort of in the back, not knowing what to do and sort of arguing about amongst themselves, and then they get attacked by Lashley, Omos, Cedric, and Shelton, and so then you have the Hurt Business versus the bloodline for like the next few months as they slowly implode, and that way you can keep Roman away from the title, and Cody can go on to Gunther, who's clearly, his next challenge.
Well, I like that idea. I thoroughly like that idea. As long as they keep it the story, and I'll be cool with the Hurt Business reforming on the Raw after Mania. But they need to do like an NWO-esque beatdown, like Cody having his moment on Raw, say once he wins the championships, if he wins, and then the Hurt Business just absolutely just beat the shit out of him.
Well, I'm not saying that they beat the shit out of Cody. I'm saying that they're fighting with the bloodline. Now, maybe when they show that on the screen, like maybe you don't show it WrestleMania night. You show it like YouTube, and then you show it on Raw, and maybe when Cody comes out, you have Lashley issue a challenge. But it seems like they want Gunther to be his next challenger. So that's why I'm saying you have the Hurt Business feuding with the bloodline. As the bloodline slowly, evaporates, Roman takes some time off. Who knows what the brothers do, all three of them, if they stick together or whatever. But yeah, But that's what. Listen, every week I'm going to wish cast something for the Hurt Business. Everyone knows that. But next week we're going to get that match with Sikoa and Cody. So when everyone was saying, "Oh, we're getting a random match with Ludwig Kaiser and Cody," I mean, first of all, no one said it was a dream match. Secondly, the matches on weekly television on Raw and SmackDown aren't really integral to the story. The stories go around the matches, but if you're not a fool, you know that Gunther is that they've made not so subtle hints that that's going to be the next challenge. So Ludwig against Cody is going to be it's the start of the story, and so it's not a random match. But we're going to get that match with Solo and Cody next week, or Monday. It'll probably be Friday though. And
I've got a feeling it'll be on SmackDown.
And there will be that Savage beatdown. Before it's too late, probably Owens and Sami Zayn will come and rescue him. But the Bloodline will get out just fine. But Roman will have his moment when he's putting both belts in front of Cody's prone body. It's WWE, so there'll be no blood, but maybe drool will be coming out of his mouth, or take a foam pill, like he's had arsenic or whatever, cyanide,
got poisoned.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see that next week, and that'll be the Friday before WrestleMania, going right into the Hall of Fame. So.
If it was up to me, and I know they probably won't stretch it that long, but if they could stretch it all the way to Survivor Series, right, and then have a Survivor Series match between the Bloodline and Cody and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and whoever else wants to join, and then have the stipulation that whoever loses has to disband. Not that it really affects Sami or KO and all them, but more the Bloodline, right? I mean, that would be great.
I don't really need Cody, Sami, and Kevin to be a thing forever going forward.
Right, that's another thing. But I don't know.
I don't think that they're that interesting a trio.
No, they're not. But I will say this: I do think Roman has been the better guy on the mic between the two of them, between him and Cody. I feel, you know what I mean? I think Roman has been hitting out his promos out of the park, dude, lately.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is that I saw him in 3 other segments early in the night, and
right.
He was boring. But yeah, he was great. But I think Cody held up his end this time. But Roman's playing a character, and he owns that character. Cody's playing himself, so that's easier. But it was cool. I thought they both did well. I mean, this was the highlight of the show. So if anyone said that Raw was good, they probably only mostly watched the second half of it. Usually the first half of Raw is much better, and the rest of Raw is like a complete doldrum. The first half of Raw was mostly horrendous. The second half was better, not so great, but there were five good segments, and the best was saved for last. So, except for maybe Otis, which is my sentimental favorite. Otese,
that's right.
Otese.
Well, in saying that, Jeff, let's take it home. Tell them where they can find you, man.
Hopefully you can find me sleeping pretty soon. On Twitter, you can follow me at IcarusFellMD. You can find me right here on the PWC and the channels we cross-pollinate with. Channel Attitude, Hameen Media Group, the Hustle. You can also find me on the Wrestling Student Network. And Hammerlock Hangover is my wrestling podcast that's not directly involved with my co-host here from the PWC and folks from Hameen. That would be Stephen Pena, who I often refer to as Esteban Pineapple. And then my non-wrestling podcasts are Garden of Doom and Garden Views. This weekend I dropped a Garden of Doom for St. Patrick's Day on Celtic Tales with Rab Fulton from Ireland, who told Celtic stories with a very thick brogue Irish accent. Hopefully you can understand it. And today I dropped the Garden Views on ChatGPT with the guy who wrote the book of ChatGPT.
Not the Book of Hobbes?
No, not the Book of Hobbes, but that might have been his co-writer. Actually, the funny thing is, the book was written by ChatGPT. Like, he actually consulted with an IP attorney beforehand. He can't assert a copyright in the book. It's basically public domain. It's scary stuff. You want to listen to the show. I'm warning anyone. The first, 90 seconds to 2 minutes is dead air because I tried to record a song and my speakers just didn't pick it up. So just skip ahead 85 seconds until you hear my voice. And this week on Garden of Doom, I'm going to drop a show with one of my favorite guests, Luke Michael Ironside. We're going to talk about linguistics and the root races, and that's going to lead into two following shows. One with our very own Chris Hams on Atlantis the week following, and then the next week I'll drop one with the very famous now from Gaia and Ancient Aliens and TED Talks, Andrew Gotham. We're going to be doing Tartaria. We're actually recording that this Thursday. So,
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I'm probably going to start dropping second Garden of Dooms midweek and maybe take a little break on Garden of Views for a bit because I have 6 recorded shows and I always like to have like 2 or 3 in surplus, but 6 is too many.
6 is a lot, no doubt about it. Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at DJ MassFX, and also follow us at the PWC Network. Also, like and subscribe right here at the PWC Network.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows. Oh, and also, speaking of Podbean, if you want your own show and your own podcast, you can. I know we've forgotten the last few shows. You can, if you go to podbean.com/affiliate code PWC Network, you get yourself a free month on us. That's right, a free month on us. So that's podbean.com/PWC Network, and you get your free month. Also, like and subscribe at channelattitude.com, where you can see me and Jeff and others talk all things professional wrestling, pretty much every company right now that matters. And also HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows, including Jeff's. And in saying that, I think we're out of here. I'm Jimmy T. That's Evil Dose Jeff Lippman, and you've been listening and watching the PWC Monday Night Machismo right here on the PWC Network. And we're out.
Listen, when I said stay evil, my friends, I didn't mean that you should watch the friggin' Ring of Honor show. You've been watching the goddamn Ring of Honor show on the PWC, and Hamin's probably even more. It's probably 10 times as much. God damn it, I'm going to have to be doing the friggin' Ring of Honor podcast.
People are tuning in, so it is what it is.
I hate you all. The more reason, you're probably Seth Rollins fans. You all suck.
I think that's perfect to say. See yous. And we're out.
Stay evil, my friends.
Stay evil.
Thank you.